Hey guys, so today I'm going to do a review of the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. I know there are a ton of these out in the YouTube world and they are basically polar opposite reviews, but I wanted to test this out for a full week. Show you guys a couple looks that I use with the Subculture palette, as well as some brushes that I find more helpful, things like that. So if you guys are interested in hearing my thoughts on the Subculture palette, then stay tuned. Hey guys, so it is another day using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Subculture palette. So today I did change up my look a little bit. Still did the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer. Went in with my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. Used Ludwig all over to set the primer. Now I want to say something. This kind of has some like fallout as well. See all that fallout? I don't know how well you guys can see it. And then when I apply it to my eyes, I get some fallout as well. So I mean, not every palette doesn't have fallout. Just want everyone to know that. But yeah, there's some fallout, like, I don't know if you can see the kickback, all this powder flying everywhere, just from the Kat Von D palette. So yeah, just to keep in mind, look at your palettes and see how much fallout. But this is, again, the Subculture palette. What I did on my lids today, I went in with New Wave on the crease. And that is that like orangey kind of shade right there. It's a matte orange. And then I went in with All Star and put that on the crease as well. Then I went in with Untamed. Real quick though, I'll show you guys the brushes that I used. This is dirty because I used it today. This is, again, my Royal & Langnickel crease smudge brush. I used the crease side, just kind of tapped it in a little bit and got some powder on my brush, and you can see I don't have a lot of fallout with that shade. And then I just kind of applied it to my crease like that, and that blends out pretty nicely. Then I went in with All Star. I'll show you guys a little tap of that. That is the brush, and you can see there's not too much powdery residue of that, and I kind of went under it a little bit and blended that out as well. So that is kind of what I did for the crease, as you can see on my eyes. So these do kind of blend out. Now I do see that All Star is a little bit patchy, but then I go in over with New Wave again at the end around my eyes, and I find that it's fine. So I use this side right here. This is, I guess, the smudger brush. I used that, and I used, what was the other little brush that I used today? So I use the smudger brush right here, just something flat, to go in with the shade Untamed, which is that beautiful shade right there. And I used that all over the lid, and I did this like very sparingly. I kind of just packed on the shade and then continued to pack all over my eyelid, and then I topped it with the shade Cube right there. So with that one I used my Sonia Kashuk flat little shader brush, and I just kind of applied it and then applied it over the lid that had the Untamed, and that is the look that I got. I went under the lid with a little smudger brush for Untamed again, but that is the look that I came up with today. I did go in after I applied Cube all over the lid again with Untamed just in the outer corners of the eye, but I had to go back in with my Shade and Light palette to get this matte white shade right here called Celios, I believe, and I use that as my brow bone highlight because I didn't want something super shimmery that the Subculture palette has. So that is the look that I came up with for the Subculture palette today. Let me know what you guys think of this look. I really like it. It's definitely something a little different. The green matched with the cube. Kind of makes it a little purpley, but yeah, something smoky and different, and I like it. So I'm still having fun playing with the Subculture palette, and I'll check back in with you guys tomorrow with a different eye look. Hey guys, for my third day using the Subculture palette, what I did is I applied the Shadow Insurance eyeshadow primer all over the lid. I set that with my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I set it with the shade right here called Ludwin. So that is how I kind of set it. And then I went in with the Subculture palette. I used Dawn in the crease. Then I kind of deepened up the crease shade with the shade New Wave, which is that shade right there. Went in the outer corner again with Axis. I'm just in love with that shade. So I went in the outer corner with Axis. Then I kind of blended it all the way to like a mid part of my eyeball. So like halfway through the lid. Then I went in with my Tarte Shape Tape and I just got a little bit of it on my brush and kind of applied it to the inner half where I didn't want the axis to be so dark. Then I went over the Shape Tape with the shade Electric, which is this shade right here. So then I went again in the little inner corners with the shade Cube. For this look, I think it is kind of similar to the one I did yesterday. The other look, I didn't even have eyeliner or mascara on in that look, and I posted it on some Facebook groups, things like that. I got a lot of likes from it, but yeah, I didn't have mascara or eyeliner on. So today I do have my eyeliner and mascara on my eyes. I really do still kind of on the fence about this palette. You do need a light hand. I do get some kickback, but not as much as you're seeing the crazy videos on YouTube. Literally what I do, I mean today I use, this is just a Royal and Langnickel brush, and that is kind of the fluffiness. Literally all I do is I just kind of tap it in a little bit. See how lightly pressed I am, and that is how much product comes up, and that is my kickback, if you guys can see. So that is the kickback. Not too much, like literally there wasn't anything in it even to like blow away. So that is literally all I have, and then I will just kind of blend it in my crease. So you can see it does blend in well. You just need to tap a little bit of the brush and just kind of slowly work your way to blending it out. So I hope you guys can see that, but that is how I use this palette. I just use a tip of the brush. What I recommend with this palette, especially after using it for 3 days, is a little bit goes a long way, and you just need to take time with your makeup in order to make a look. So let me know what you guys think of this third look right here, and I will play with this palette again tomorrow. Hey guys, so it is another day of the Subculture palette. So this is the look I came up with for today. Let me know what you guys think of it. For this look, I again used the Too Faced Shadow Insurance Primer. Went in with my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I did the shade Ludwin all over the eyelid up to the brow bone. And then I went in with the Subculture palette. So this look, I started with the shade Dawn, which is this shade right here. It's like a creamy matte peach shade. I did that all over the crease. Then I went in with New Wave right there. This like a orange matte orange shade. I did that on the crease of the lid. Used Roxy all over the lid. I just kind of used a flat kind of shader brush, tapped it all over the lid. Then I went in with the shade Fudge right here on the outer corner, just a little bit to darken up the look. Then I took my finger and the shade Adorn, which is the like bronze gold shimmer shade, and I just kind of tapped that on the middle of my eyelid all the way to the inner part. And then I kind of went in again with New Wave New Wave for the crease to kind of blend everything out again. Edge a little bit in the crease to blend everything out. And then I put Cube just on the inner part of my eye. Can't really see it that much. I used Fudge on my lower lash line and put some of the New Wave and Roxy under there as well, just to kind of brighten and darken my under eyes. So that is the look I did today. I did go in for my brow bone shade with the Shade and Light palette still. I used this cream shade right here called Succubus. And that is what I did for my eye look today. So it's definitely something different. I've tried to do and use different shadows in this palette. I found that these shadows that I used today blended more easily than like the Axis and Rowdy shades or the greeny blue shades that I've used before. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this look. It's definitely a different look for me. I don't normally gravitate towards the orange shades, but this is something fun. I'm just doing things around the house today. Hair is pulled up. I just took a shower, put on my makeup. So yeah, I wanted to check in with you guys. Overall though, for another day come and gone, I am still really enjoying this palette. I'm finding if I just tap lightly, and I know to be careful with this palette, it's not a bad palette. It is more time consuming, but other than that, I have really been enjoying it. So again, I've used this for 4 days, and I'll give you guys a close-up look of what the shades look like to see like how much progress and dents are in it. But yeah, I don't find that it's too bad with the kickback if you were just very careful with it. I do notice though, yesterday I think I had on Axis, and I did notice it turned more like dark gray blue than like the bright blue of the shade. But other than that, I was really liking it. So this is the look today, and I'll check back in with you guys tomorrow with the shade Mercury. Hey guys, real quick, I wanted to share with you my eye look using the Subculture palette today. What I did, again, I used the Too Faced Shadow Insurance, used that Shade and Light shade and Ludwin all over to set the eye primer. Then I went in with my Anastasia palette. So the only shade I have not used yet is the shade Mercury, which is that matte gray shade. I used Mercury in the crease today, and I did find that it was very hard to blend. That was actually one of the harder ones to blend. I don't know if it was because I had it in my crease or what. I just don't really like this look out of all the looks that I have done, and Mercury is a big reason for that. It was just really hard to blend on my crease. Then I went in with New Wave all over the lid and tried to do Cube on like the inner to middle part of my eye. I can't really see Cube too much. It did lighten up the matte orange in New Wave, but yeah, this is the look I came up with today. Other than that, I used Dawn a little bit, this like matte peachy shade, to mix and try and blend out the gray Mercury in my crease, but I still find that I just had a really hard time doing my crease with Mercury, things like that. But other than that, I have used every shadow in this palette, so I'm going to give you guys some quick swatches and then talk to you guys about my final kind of feel with this palette. Hey guys, real quick, I did one last eye look for this video, similar to what I have done before. Again, Too Faced for my primer, used the Incubus or whatever shade in my Kat Von D to set the primer. Then I went in with my Subculture palette. Went in with Dawn all over the crease, just kind of get everything ready. Then I went in with All Star, which is this really pretty pink, like dark pink matte shade. Used that on the crease today. Then I went in with the shade Axis, which is that like dark blue teal kind of shade on the outer corner and inner corner, as you can see. And then I went with Eclectic or Electric in the middle of my eyes, used Cube on my inner tear duct, and that is the look I did for this afternoon because, you know, I did the other look this morning. But I am now going to give you guys some swatches and kind of go one by one, sharing with you guys my thoughts and feelings about this palette as a whole. So I have been using this palette So I've been using the Subculture palette now for a full week. I might have showed you some looks, might not have shown you others. I do want to say real quick, the ingredients are a little different than the Modern Renaissance palette. I do not have the Modern Renaissance palette, so I can't compare like strictly what they are. I do know that the main ingredient in this palette is talc, and the other main ingredient is a different one, but this is supposed to be the sister palette for the Modern Renaissance palette. So it is supposed to be a night and the other one's supposed to be day. As you can see, I have already used this for a full week and there's little stuff all over the palette. So I love the velvet, but I don't love the velvet because it gets dirty. So that's the outer packaging. Let's just get on with swatches and talking about each shade. So the first shade right here is Cube, and I guess I'll show you guys real quick. This is the palette after 1 week use. So you can definitely see I have used every little shade, but Cube is a kind of white, like has a pink iridescent shade to it. Cube is actually the hardest and least pigmented shadow in my opinion in this palette. I find that I really have to apply and add a lot of this shadow onto my eyes in order to see it. I kind of use it as a eyeshadow topper or just in my inner corner. Everything else, it's just like kind of dissipates and you don't really see it. So that is Cube, which is that shade right there. Then going into Roxy, which is what everyone is complaining about, that is the Fallout. So that is the shade right there. And Foxy is like a matte peachy pink kind of shade. I really like it. I don't think I have a bad palette or one of the ones that are super Fallouty, but then again, I am very gentle with this because I knew going in that there was those kind of problems going on. But I do use Roxy a lot for my crease as well as all over the lid. I really love this shade. It is just a gorgeous pigmented peach shade and it's beautiful. I don't find for any of these except for 2 shades that they're really hard to blend. But again, Roxy is a pretty good shade in my opinion. Going on to Dawn, and this is a like kind of just a peach shade, a matte peach shade. It's perfect for me for blending or my like transition shade in this palette. So I like to, after I have like a crease shade and some kind of dark, especially these darker shades in the palette, I like to use Dawn to kind of blend everything out and just kind of add a little bit more pigmentation. If there's any of those dark shades that aren't blending out as well or a little bit patchy, I kind of use Dawn to kind of make the look come together. So that is, again, the shade Dawn. Going into Electric, this is actually my favorite shade. It is a sparkly green with some shimmer in it kind of shade. I wouldn't say that Electric is very glittery, but it does have like a shimmer iridescent to it. Again, it is what is on the middle of my eyes. I love this shade. I do find that I'm starting to get a little bit of hard pan on it, which is weird. I don't use it with anything wet. I've only used it with a dry brush, but I am finding that it's creating this like weird look to it right where my brush goes in. So I don't know about that. I'll have to keep you guys updated. You can also see with that it has like, it's almost like a metal in the middle and then like still has the sparkles on the outer side. So it makes me almost think that there was an overspray to Electric. I'm not 100% sure with that. Going into Destiny right here, this is like a matte army green kind of shade and it turns to me to be a little bit more gray applied to my lids. It does have a little bit of that green color to it, but it is a similar on me color to gray. I find that Destiny and Axis oxidize a little bit and turn more gray in shade throughout the day than what I would want from just looking at the colors straight on. So that's Destiny. Going in with Fudge. This is a super rich matte brown shade, and I love using Fudge for my crease or outer corner. This will be a great shade for me for the outer corner. I do like using dark browns a lot in the outer corner, so Fudge is a nice shade as well. Okay, next shade is Adorn, which is this beautiful gold satiny kind of metallic shade, and it almost is like a foiled eyeshadow. I really like that for all over the lid. I'm definitely into the bronzy gold shades, and that one works beautifully. I actually find Adorn has the least fallout out of all of these, not fallout, kickback out of all of these shades. Honestly, with this palette, I haven't noticed any fallout when applying these eyeshadows, but then again, I do use, I do my eyes first and then my foundation. The only one that has maybe given me a little bit of fallout is Access when I'm not being too careful with it, just due to the dark pigmentation of that product. So next is New Wave, and that is a gorgeous matte orange shade. I like to use that all over the lid. It is beautiful. I really love that shade. It does have some kickback, but it's a pretty good color. Then we have All Star, and that is, in the pan, it looks like more maroon pink, but swatched on me, it tends to get a little bit purpley. So that is the shade right there in All Star. I use that a lot on my crease or all over the lid as well. I really like that one. Then we have Untamed, which is a gorgeous green, like hunter green shadow for me. It definitely looks a little bit darker on my skin versus in the pan. It's a little bit of a darker hunter green than the true kind of green color that is in the pan. So that is a little bit of a color difference from the pan to my actual eyes and skin. Then we have the shade Mercury, and that is the gray shade right there. And this looks very gray on the eyes, which is what it's supposed to be. I actually find Mercury is very hard to blend as well. You guys saw that look prior to this, and I used that with New Wave, and I just wasn't a big fan of it. Next is Edge, and this is the yellow mustard kind of color. It's not one that I'm going to be reaching for a lot with this palette, but it is nice to have a yellow mustard color. It's not supposed to be super yellow. It is supposed to be more of that darker yellow, like a dirty mustard almost. So that is Edge. Going into Access, which is what is on my inner and outer corner, that is the blue teal shade right there. Again, I really like this throughout the day though. It does oxidize a little bit and get a little bit gray, more grayish blue than the blue that is on my eyes right now. Rowdy is a matte purple, almost a dark black, like close to black shade, and this is perfect for a liner look or for your outer corner. So overall with this palette, I am actually liking it a lot. I do find I have to be a lot more careful with this palette, and it is a little bit more time consuming. You just need a little bit of the product, tap your brush in a little bit like I've shown you guys, and you will be good to go. I would not recommend getting this palette if you are trying to look for more neutral colors. There are some pretty decent neutral colors in this palette. I mean, Dawn, Mercury, Fudge, and Roxy, you guys, oh, and Adorn, you could use a lot of the neutral colors and make a neutral look, but I think this palette is something for someone who wants to be adventurous with their makeup and try some bold colors. The main reason why I purchased this is I wanted to spice up my makeup collection. I feel like I normally get a lot of the neutral eyeshadow palettes, and I saw these darker shades, especially Access and All Star, and really was gravitated towards them with this palette. So that is why I picked this palette up. Other than that, a couple of the shades, like I said, have a hard time blending. I don't see as many serious issues as a lot of people here on YouTube are talking about. You just, again, need to be very careful with these eyeshadows and spend some time on it. It's not a palette you can grab and go. Get ready for work in under 30 minutes, your full face, and go. You definitely have to spend some time with your makeup with this palette. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know it's a little different than a lot of the mainstream YouTubers reviews out there, but I have really been enjoying my Subculture palette. I'm going to continue to reach for this. I'm not returning it. I did hear that they are gonna possibly repress them a little harder. They used automatic machines, and that's why some people are getting some bad batches that are a little bit more powdery and stuff than this. My recommendation would be, if you guys are really interested, I would purchase it from Sephora. Sephora and Ulta, especially when they come in store, which is very soon, so you can actually play with them yourselves, see what you think of the shades, if you would actually use them, and then I would pick it up because this is awesome. I really am having fun playing with this palette. Again, it's a pretty good palette. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more videos, and I'll talk to you in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!